Okay, are we? Sorry.
Echo, Rishabh.
Are we ready to start?
Okay, I think so. We should start.
Yeah, sorry about that. Are we ready to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sona, I'll hand you over. Then you can.
Okay.
You want to do the Navkar mantra?
No, you do the Navkar mantra from there. And then I'll introduce Jyoti, and then Samir Bhai can take it over,
Yeah.
and then hand it over.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Good evening, everybody.
Sona, over to you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Jyoti. Welcome on Sri Visashwal Community Nairobi's platform. And Jyoti is a life navigator. So I'll hand it over to Samir Bhai.
Jai Jinendra, Pranam. Good evening. Welcome to another Visawasha Community Nairobi online program. A very warm welcome to our coach and presenter, Jyoti Choda. Jyoti will be coaching us tonight on neuro-linguistic programming. Find your lighthouse, a symbol of strength, calm and security by overcoming the turbulence in your life. Once again, Jyoti, a very big thank you to you. And now we hand over to you, please, to start the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Samir. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I thank you all the members of Visawasha community. Hope you've been doing well and you've had a lovely day. I'm going to begin by just saying a few things about myself so we can connect on a more personal level. I'm Jyoti. I'm 45, proud of it. I'm married for almost 20 years, even prouder, and I have a teen son, my proudest moment. I've always leaned towards people-focused work. I mentored my family and friends for many years, and I think I did a fairly good job. So that was a great foundation for where I stand now. I reached a point in my life where I felt this void and a sense of stagnancy. And I needed to create some opportunities for myself. I was doing a job that I wasn't fully passionate about. So I needed to find my niche, and that's exactly what I did. I started doing some research and I came across this lovely Dutch lady who was mastering on NLP coaching, and I didn't hesitate. I signed on and haven't looked back since then. So I'm at a place in my life where I want to share my expertise and empower people. Sorry, is it possible to ask the members to please switch off their mics because it's interfering with? Thank you so much. I'm sorry about that. So as I was saying, I have reached a point in my life where I feel I'm ready to empower people. I've been doing it for the last 2 years to create possibilities for themselves and positive change. So this is where I'll start with what NLP coaching is. Like Samir said, it's got a very scientific name. It's called neuro-linguistic programming. But I like to give it a softer, more appropriate name, which is New Life Path. Has anyone heard of NLP coaching? If you can just raise your hands maybe in the chat. Okay, I can see 1 or 2 people on the video. Okay, that's great. Okay, so there are many forms of coaching. Now, what NLP does, it's a very interactive form of coaching where I, the coach, and the client, you, play an equally important role. What it does, it involves various interactive techniques where what I do is try and shift your perspective to see it in a more constructive light. So you're able to see the possibilities. It could be a hindering belief. It could be a self-esteem issue. It could be just where you've reached a crossroad in your life and you feel lost. So what I do is I guide you through this, through using these techniques depending on your challenge. And it's actually very enlightening because your contribution would be to keep an open mind, and it will just help you see such a beautiful perspective on what you have believed for so long wasn't possible to change. Okay, and this is what I want to do now is I want to differentiate between coaching and counseling because a lot of people have asked me what the primary difference is between these two. What coaching does, it's basically about introspecting and focusing on the now and what next, and helping you to go through these challenges. What counseling primarily does, it focuses on the problem and it goes through a healing process. Yeah, you go through a healing process and to overcome this and help you progress forward. They do overlap. So what are you doing?
Jyoti, sorry to interrupt. We can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we are.
I think I might have just unmuted myself by mistake, sorry. Okay, So let's get back to it. Now, the reason why I call myself a life navigator, I choose the word navigate because what I do is I can possibly be your compass, but you steer the ship, which comes to that really famous affirmation that a lot of us have probably crossed is you are the captain of your own ship. You need to take charge of your life, and it's in your control to do this. So this is where I empower you to feel this way through these techniques, depending on your challenge. But of course, in reality, we're juggling a lot of roles. It gets overwhelming and hard to balance. So that's why I'd like to begin with the significance of a lighthouse. Samir had mentioned when you are going through a turbulence in your life, you find a safe space, which gives you a sense of security, a sense of strength, individuality, and self-discovery. What I would like to make this session as engaging as possible. So what I'd like you to do on the chat, if you can possibly tell me what do you feel or what comes to mind, what a lighthouse is to you, besides all the nice and yummy cassava recipes to get in Lighthouse in Yali. So please, can you just please share? I'll give you a few minutes. I will not read them out. I will, if you don't mind, I would like to read them out, but I will just wait. What does lighthouse mean to you? Don't be shy. I want to make this as interactive so you leave feeling a bit okay, my nephew has just replied. He says it's a beacon. That's so true, Rohin. Aruna and Reka, beacon of hope. Exactly that. Dilip Shah, a beacon to get a bearing. Exactly. It's to find direction. Bansi, a beacon showing you the shore. Exactly. You set sail. You dive into your challenges. You find direction. You anchor them. And then you move towards the shore. Gives me direction. A guiding tool. Exactly. Anyone else? Okay, thank you for that. And they're all so true. Okay, I've got another one. A ray of hope in a stark environment. Yes. And what does that mean? A ray of hope. There's always hope. There's always possibilities. There's always opportunities. A place of true peace and harmony. We all need that at some point in our lives. So this is what this journey is about navigating, about setting sail, diving deep into your challenges, anchoring them, and then finding the solutions so you're able to set direction in a calmer direction with a lot less rougher patches. It's not a perfect life, so you just have to allow yourself to overcome these, and it's a transition. You shed the layers and you find the trigger points to help you move upwards. Okay, so what I like to do now is during the course of the session, please put in any questions that you may have and that I will reply to at the end of it. So let's talk about something that we can all relate to, which is the COVID period. We have all had to, we've had a lot of unprepared adjustments we've had to deal with, assess our resilience, and it's created realizations, some positive, some not so positive. It has given us time to self-reflect on our priorities for some of us, forced us to confront aspects of our life that we've neglected or ignored for too long. For some of us, it's been a form of subconscious self-coaching. But for many of us, it's been a trap that we haven't had the right frame of mind to guide us through over this overwhelming time. Here is where I come in. So I specialize in individual and personal relationship coaching. Let me share a few scenarios with you, for example, that we can all relate to at some point in our lives or some aspect of our lives. For example, you have a boss that's very demanding, doesn't respect you, doesn't appreciate or validate what you do. So when COVID hit, unless you got redundant, it gave you an option of thinking about whether you should continue this job or find a job that will give you the self-respect and self-worth that you deserve, or start a business that you've been wanting to pursue for so long, but you haven't had the time or the confidence to do so. So that's why I come in, to help you, to guide you through this. It could be a point in your life where you've reached a crossroad and you feel unstimulated, you have a deep hole that you can't dig out of yourself out of, you have low self-esteem by many aspects of your life, and you just feel lost and you need a way out. That's where I come in. It could be, okay, a lack of communication. Everyone can deal with that. Everyone can relate to that. And everyone takes it for granted to a certain extent. It's a big common relationship issue. For example, as a couple, your spouse and you haven't managed to connect in many years because maybe you're focused on your career or on your children for too long, and you feel so lost on how to now reconnect. That's where I come in. It could be where you have a family member, for example, where you just have this reoccurring validation to please them. And you are always the one, for example, to apologize or to take the blame for, even though we both know it's not right and it's not fair and it's very unhealthy. That's where I find some perspective for both of you to find a way out and to reconnect on a healthier level, where your beliefs and values are initiated. As an Asian community, I think we can all relate to the family dynamic of joint families, where sometimes maybe as a daughter-in-law or son-in-law, your say gets diluted in the whole extended family. So you're not really involved in important family matters. And sometimes to the extent where it comes to your children's education. And this inevitably affects your relationship as a couple. So again, this is where I come in. I see your challenge. So it could be a relationship issue. It could be an internal conflict. It could be a phobia. It could be a deep-rooted behavioral issue. And it could be a sense of guilt, powerlessness, self-esteem in any aspect of your life. It could be in your career. It could be in your relationship with your partner, with your spouse, with a family member, or even a friend. And what it does, it's how you're feeling personally will affect your relationship. So they do work hand in hand to a certain extent. So this is where what I do is one-on-one coaching. I prefer to do one-on-one coaching, even if it involves a couple or a family member. The reason being is because I need to identify you as an individual first and see where your hindering beliefs and your hindering emotions could possibly be. And what I do is I do a couple of sessions depending on the challenge with each of you. And then when I think you're both ready, I call for a joint session. And again, depending on the challenge, see how many sessions you need. Some of these techniques involve a lot of introspect. So there are a lot of closed eyes, deep breathing, but connecting with all your senses, sound, visual, kinesthetic. So I'm sure a lot of you do a lot of meditation. So what we do is we do a guided internal practice for some of you who are not able to connect. But my foundation of this is doing this at a comfortable pace to peel off all the layers at your pace. So I try and do one technique per session, depending. So then you peel off the layers slowly by slowly. So you find your trigger points and then you move upwards from there. When I did this, so I had to go through the whole course. I did all the up to about 50 techniques. And honestly, it completely shifted my perspective in where I was feeling, what I was feeling, and what was I responsible for to be in this position. Sometimes we tend to blame each other a lot or tend to find excuses for why we are here. But honestly, it's about taking responsibility, and from there, it's all upwards. It's all positive. So today I'm going to try and do a technique. I mean, it is something that I would like to do personally, and a lot of them are quite deep-rooted, and you need to zone in. But this is one technique called anchoring, where you can tap into it regardless of your age or circumstance. So I'm going to try and do this with you, and I hope you can connect with it. So what I'd like for you all to do is get into a comfortable position if you're not already in one. Roll your shoulders, stretch your neck, relax your body. So when you're ready, I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like to take a few deep breaths in and out. Be aware of your breaths. Make them as constant as possible. While you're doing this, I would like you to think about a time in your life where you felt it was the peak of your life. It was a happy moment. You felt complete. It could be in any aspect of your life. It could be a memory as far as your childhood. It could be in your teens. It could be 10 years ago, but it could be very recently. I'd like you to take your time when we do this. Connect with the memory vividly. How old are you? Where are you? Who is around you? What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you see? Try and relive this memory and bring it alive as much as possible. Once you have connected with it fully, take a deep breath in and out, release it, and slowly open your eyes. Hope most of you are smiling now. Can you please share with me on the chat if you managed to tap into that memory? Some of you may not zone in, given the environment may not be favorable, or noise, or just, an overactive mind at the moment. Can any of you, can you share if you connected with that memory, please? Happy feeling? And can you identify when you felt that way? So the significance of this is usually when I do this anchoring technique, is when someone has a hindering belief, for example, maybe fear or a lack of confidence. Okay, yes, I did manage a memory forgotten and overtaken by events. Okay, that's fabulous. Thank you. And that's the whole idea of pushing to return that space and time. That's why it's called anchoring, and I'll explain to you why. And what else? It's okay if you haven't managed to tap in. I mean, it does take a bit of time and a bit of internalizing. And sometimes we do forget that happy memory, but because of obviously all the events that have happened over time. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is find a place on your body that is easily accessible. So not like your ankle, that you have to do any yoga positions or something. So something preferably that is accessible. A lot of people choose their heart. A lot of people choose a pressure point on their wrist. That's lovely. So please tap into your anchor. Find a point that signifies an anchor for you. It could be your heart, as I said. It could be a pressure point. Preferably don't use somewhere where you've had a scar unless it has a positive significance to you. Okay, so I'd like you to now get into a relaxed position again. I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like you to take a few deep breaths. And I'd like you to go back to that memory when you felt it was the peak of your life. A happy memory. That's significantly one of the most happy memories you can relate to that maybe you might have forgotten about. It's taking you time. And I'd like you to be very aware of how old you are. Or if not even how old, whether it was in your teens, or your childhood, your 20s, 30s, 40s, or very recently. I'd like you to feel it. I'd like you to visualize it. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you feel? And when you reach the peak of this feeling, I'd like you to tap into your anchor. I'd like you to press it for about 5 to 15 seconds, whatever you're comfortable with. So tap into your anchor once you're at the peak of this feeling. Once you're done, release it. And take a few deep breaths. And open your eyes. Now, I'd like to break state. The reason why I like to do this is because when, in a time of need, when you need to use this anchor, could be when you have an important meeting, could be when you have your first date, or when you're getting married and you're feeling this sense of fear or doubt or overwhelm. And basically, like I said before, it specifies on the hidden belief, and then I try and find this anchor to have that opposite effect on you. But at the moment, I'm just keeping it general because it's not a coaching session. So I'm going to ask you what you had for breakfast today. Anyone? What did you have for breakfast today? Can I have some replies, please? Pancakes and Nutella. Go ahead, that's yummy. Lucky for a Wednesday. Tea. Donald. Okay, nice. Okay, great. Porridge. Okay, healthy. 5 almonds and 3 tomato juice. Okay, I like the specifics. Okay, so the reason why I broke state here is because, I mean, you might need to use this anchor at any point in your life, and it could be very spontaneous. So that's why I break the state. I don't want you to zone in and think you can only do that once you zone in. So again, I'd like you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel the happy feeling again. Bring it alive. Make it a memory that is so vivid that you can actually feel you're in the present moment with it. And when you feel you're at the peak of this feeling, I'd like you to anchor to the point that you have chosen. 5 to 10 seconds. Release to your own comfort. Let go. And open your eyes. Are any of you feeling a little more in tune or connecting with it a little more the second time? Please share on the chat. Anyone feeling it a little more? Whether everyone's still in the anchoring position. Okay, Okay. That takes time. Yeah, awareness and pressure. It's awareness and presence. It is a process. Okay, let's try it one more time and see where it takes you. Keep an open mind, and sometimes it will not connect completely, especially in this kind of environment, because it's not a specific belief or hindering belief, so to speak, that I'm connecting you with. It's just a very general happy feeling. So if you can, again, close your eyes. And maybe there's a lot of noise around you, or you're just not able to connect. But anyway, let's try it again. We're here to overcome challenges. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Connect with this memory of feeling extremely happy at the peak of your life. Feel it, see it, hear it. Try and bring it to the forefront of your mind. And when you feel you're at the peak of it, I'd like you to press your anchor. And once you're done, release. I hope I have managed to a certain extent to help you anchor this happy feeling. But I just wanted to give you an idea as best as possible as I could with one of the techniques I thought would be the simplest to use on this Zoom session with a number of people. How is everyone feeling about it? Please share, because this is where we can interact, and you're my teachers at this point. Okay, I feel peaceful. That's great. That's exactly what it should feel like. Okay, I feel comfort within that moment. What if you're shy to share, even in the last session? Anything else? More connected? I'm glad more connected in what sense? With the happy moment? Did it? If you don't mind me asking. Okay, that's Shadow. That's so great. That's so lovely to hear. Okay, so now I wanted to just play my role for half the session, because I feel this is the time for you to ask me the questions that you want to. So please go ahead, and I don't know whether you want to, Sonal or Samir, you would like to unmute people or give them the option of doing that so they can ask questions.
Thank you, Jyoti. I think you can just ask them to ask you a question while they can unmute and ask you a question if they have to.
Okay, perfect. All right. So you can have the option of doing it on the chat or asking directly. So how many sessions does it take to find your lighthouse? Rohan, it really depends on what your current challenge is. So if it's something a little more deep-rooted, that takes you back maybe to your childhood, then it would take many more sessions than if it's just a hindering belief of maybe self-doubt, or you just need guidance to put you on the right path. I hope that answers your question. And thank you for being so interested.
House. She saw three old men standing in front of her house. She didn't know them, but those three old men looked hungry. So she...
I'm not sure what that was. Any other questions? Samir, do you want to maybe prompt people to ask questions, or maybe you can ask the question yourself?
One second, Jyoti. Yeah.
Go ahead, Samir.
Sure. It's a very interesting subject, Jyoti. In terms of day-to-day, how do we use this technique to improve and getting to the target of trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve?
Okay, so what it entails, Samir, is that I have a consultation with you first. We have a chat about why you've come to me. And then depending on that, I guide you to how many sessions we possibly need to do this. So if, for example, you are having a challenge at work with maybe your boss, or you want to change your job, I will take you to a technique or a couple of techniques to help you do that, because a lot of the techniques are really customized to your challenge. That's the great thing about NLP coaching. Even if you have, for example, a phobia, we have a technique for a phobia. If you have an incompatible issue with your spouse, we have a technique for that. So what it does, it basically puts you into, like, you know how sometimes they say, I put yourself in my shoes. And you know how you always say that to each other, put yourself in my shoes. For example, if it's a relationship issue. So I actually take you through a technique that positively puts you in someone's shoes. And you go through the whole process of seeing it from someone else's or from your spouse's eyes too, but in a more constructive way. Not in a blaming, resentful way, in a more constructive way. So it helps you change your thinking process. It shifts your whole thinking process. So you're able to see the possibilities of something you found that was even like a dead end, so to speak. Like communication is a big one, for example, that a lot of us have gone through possibly in some point in our lives where we've had a communication issue, and it's led to many other issues in our life. It can be personal, it can be relationship, it can be in your work environment. So it's difficult to actually, that's why I try to do the anchoring, but anchoring is really on the surface of issues, of how to deal with certain issues, the technique. So it really is that's why I do one-to-one, because it's so personal to start off with. And then eventually, if you have a relationship issue, it helps you deal with that better. They tend to work hand in hand. So when you say, how do we pursue this on a day-to-day, it's a process. It's a transition. It will take time, depending on how open-minded you are and how willing you are personally. You play a crucial, crucial role. I don't fix you. I empower you to take charge and to see your problems in a different light. And that's what the most enlightening part of it is. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if anybody else, any other questions?
Actually, Gurmeet has asked, could you please clarify how NLP differs from counseling? Are you supposed to use NLP to improve a great sense of self-purpose or address personal issues? Both, actually, Gurmeet. I had mentioned earlier counseling. What counseling does is it identifies the specific problem, and then you go through a healing process. Whereas coaching, like sometimes people have a sports coach. What they do is that you introspect and you say, what is now and how can I move forward to achieve my goals? It can be for both. Yeah, sure. I will share my contact and you can get in touch with Sonal or Samir Bharti. And then on the actual poster that Sonal put up, my website is there. You're welcome, Bernie. Everyone's quite shy, Samir, to ask questions. Tend to be quite shy. I think maybe it's a matter of comfort.
Jyoti,
Yeah.
are you able to help children in this sort of a, let's say maybe bonding with a family or bonding with their siblings or friends during this pandemic? Are you able to help resolve such issues?
I wouldn't try and handle children because I don't specify in children because it's a very sensitive aspect. So I would possibly suggest a certified children's coach because it's a whole different introspect. It's a whole different ball game and it's very sensitive. I don't think I'd certify for that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful.
Higher rates per session and average how long is one session? So Smita, thank you for this question. So the sessions run for about 1.5 hours, but you do start off with a complimentary consultation of 5 minutes to an hour. Then depending on this consultation and once I identify your challenges, I will decide whether you need, how many sessions you need. Start with 3 sessions, which are 4,000 shillings each. And it's and 6 sessions is 3,500 for 1.5 hours. And again, it's a weekly session. So it really depends on your challenge. And then we take it from there after the consultation. Anything else? So Warren's asking, this anchoring or any kind of self-enabling technique requires embracing your vulnerability. How can people feel less of a stigma with this? That's a great question, Rohan. Thank you. So basically, vulnerability is probably a positive thing when you want to do NLP coaching because you have to be able to release and be comfortable releasing your vulnerabilities because that inevitably becomes your strength. Once you identify with the techniques and how can people feel less of a stigma with this, that's personal, that's a journey, it's a transition. And if they're willing to, then it's possible. Does NLP, Bansi, thank you for your question. Does NLP alleviate phobias of almost all kinds? Possibly, yes. I would think so, but you would probably do a number of techniques besides the actual technique for the phobia. But like I said, it depends very much on you as a client to be open and willing and play your role, and then the effect will be much higher depending on that. So I'm just there to guide you. I like to call it a trusted partnership. Can I be my own anchor? It's a very interesting question. Yes, I think you can be. like they say, you're your source of your own happiness, and it's up to you to do that. And none of us take that for granted. So that's an anchor in itself. Yes, Nita? I'm sure if you believe in it, you can be. But a lot of you who are not aware of NLP coaching, it might seem very foreign, and it might feel that you're not able to identify with it. But honestly, I was there. I was exactly at that place where I felt, this is completely out of my comfort zone, and I don't think I'm willing to do it. But honestly, once I did it, it just created a whole new meaning to possibilities. Anything else? So if you want my contact, it's on the poster that's on sent out to everyone, or you can just get in touch with Sonu with my details. Samira or Sonu, would you like to say anything?
Okay, I suppose, Jyoti, thank you so much for being here and giving us a session which is very, very different. And thank you, on behalf of Visashwa community. I'll hand it over to Samir Bhai.
Thank you, Jyoti. It must be a very interesting and new topic for most of us. That's why you're seeing a lot of us are very quiet tonight. But I'm sure a lot of people will get in touch with you and get more details of how to use this very enlightening new technique which we've learned tonight. So once again, a very big thank you on behalf of Visashwa community in Nairobi. Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you so much, Samir, for this opportunity. And I hope I managed to connect with most of you.
Yes.
I'd just like to leave with one quote. So if I could do that. So it's called Ripples. When you create a difference in someone's life, you not only impact their life, you impact everyone influenced by them throughout their entire lifetime. No act is ever too small. One by one, this is how to make an ocean rise. And remember the positive affirmation, you're the captain of your own ship. Thank you and God bless.